Hello everybody, it's San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about CAR T programs off the shelf. I want to talk about programs like CRISPR Therapeutics and other CRISPR companies tackling this space. I want to talk about this article that we're looking at here from nature.com, obviously one of the most known publishers journals out there. I want to talk about all of that in today's video. And before we do that, before we jump into today's video, do like this video, smash the like button, destroy that like button, really does help the channel. If you've not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Just underneath this channel, guys. If you have any comments, input, question, feedback, leave it to me in the comment section below. We try to read and respond to every single comment. Thank you so much for the support, guys. This community is amazing. As we are still in a bear market, we have a lot of work here to be done, studying these companies, studying this space, whether that's CRISPR, whether that's genomics, whether that's healthcare in general, biotech, lots of things to learn. Let's keep sharing information. So, this article here was published literally 2 days ago on nature.com. Title has Off the Shelf Gene Edited CAR T Cells Forges Ahead Despite Safety Scare, right? Race to Clinical reunites for off the shelf alternative to autologous CAR T cell therapy, even has concerns over chromosomal abnormalities lingers, right? And this is obviously a speculation. It's not proven yet that it is specifically from the double strand break from what Allogene did. But basically, Allogene, the FDA put a hold into their specific program because of what I just highlighted here. And there's a lots of speculation that this is due to double strand breaks from their talent technique. Again, that is not CRISPR, but it still does a double-stranded break. And obviously, CRISPR-Cas9 from CRISPR Therapeutics do double-stranded breaks. So this is what they're talking about, safety scare. Again, nothing has been proven yet, so I won't even spend too much time talking about it, but we'll see when the data, official data comes out, right? Here's an image here that's saying off-the-shelf T cell equipped with CAR T directed to attack tumors, right? So what is CAR T, right? It's basically a cell that's designed to attack tumors, right? Cancer cells, right? The more CAR T you have, the more durable CAR T cells you have in your body, the longer it can attack and hopefully eradicate cancerous cells, right? Which means that you would be removing that cancer from your body. Now, obviously, there's some premise being made here that your CAR T cell can be durable, right? And that's what the data that we're looking at from CTX110, for example, from CRISPR Therapeutics, the durability percentage, that is very, very important, right? That is one of the metric that we're looking at from these types of programs, right? So in November, CRISPR Therapeutics was handed the designation for their CAR T cell therapy for CTX110 from the FDA. We covered that. So US FDA went forward, give it designation for CTX110. Again, what is designation? Designation basically means priority, basically means that the FDA is willing to reduce cost and give priority to CRISPR Therapeutics to practice CTX110 in US soil for the CAR T cell therapy, right? And you don't give out these designations if there's nothing to it, right? Right after that data that was published, this designation came about after I think 1 or 2 or 3 weeks later. So obviously the data was notable. There was something to be said about data, right? You don't give designation just for the sake of giving it, right? There has to be data that backs it up, right? Especially in a regulation firm like the FDA in US, right? So we're looking at here. Um, let's take a look at what else we can find in here before I head in towards the end of this article that has a lot more juice, I think. Obviously, here we're talking about Allogene Therapeutics. The FDA put on hold from all trials because they're also doing it off the shelf CAR T therapy. And what's going on here is that there was an issue, right, with phase two trial. And that is what we talk about, that chromosome um, issue there that we talked about, right? And then Allogene is not doing CRISPR, but it's still doing a technique that requires double-stranded breaks, and that's why this is being mentioned here because CRISPR Therapeutics also does a double-stranded break, right, from CRISPR-Cas9. Both Allogene involve gene editing, yeah, okay, that's fine. The looming question is not so much whether the gene edit needed to achieve off-the-shelf therapy may cause chromosomal rearrangement, but whether any resulting cells may remain viable or indeed selective pressure from mitogenetic cells might then make them more frequently in allogenic therapies than autologous counterparts, right? We knew that this could happen. Dr. Yurnov said it. I didn't even know Dr. Yurnov worked at Sangamo Therapeutics, actually. That's why, actually, I didn't know that, so it's pretty cool. Um, okay, so this is going through what allogenic is. I definitely will not talk about it in this video anyways, right? Right, so if you take a look at here, this is explaining why CAR T soil programs, whether what's going on here off the shelf is important, why it is important, right? Talking about the persistence, right? The persistence, durability of those CAR T cells, right? Being a metric that's very, very important, right? It's not just enough to say that you're doing an edit on those CAR T cells and then inject it in the human body, right? It's important to recognize the toxic effects that it may have, and it's also obviously when we talk about safety, that's the safety metric, but also durability, making sure that you have a complete response over time, not just a month or two, but long term. And if you need a second dose, which is what CRISPR Therapeutics is doing also, um, has nature biotechnology went to press, it is still unclear whether the chromosomal abnormality observed from allogene trial has led any clinical effects, right? The company did not discover the problem during routine monitoring after receiving the CAR T cells. The affected patient who had stage 4 lymphoma with a rearrangement in the tumor, right? A condition that usually were okay. So this is explaining how the patient basically was detected for that abnormality in the chromosome, right? So looking here, this is taken on chromosome 14. So I have some technical details here, but that's not the point of this video anyways. I didn't want to explain the actual abnormality, but there is some safety issue. Obviously, that's why they were put on hold, and that's why the FDA is investigating along with the company Allogene. So whether talent technology here increases the risk is unclear, right? But it still does double-stranded breaks, which is what CRISPR Therapeutics is doing, right? So that's what the uncertainty is, is it due to double-stranded break? Because if it is, then we know that CRISPR Therapeutics and other companies doing double-stranded breaks when it comes to CAR T cells may have this issue, right? And that is a perfect segue here to iPSC derived T cells, right? Still a work in progress, but Fate Therapeutics is now in the clinic with an allogeneic CAR T cell therapy based on that approach, right? So you can eliminate a lot of the risk by doing iPSC derived T cells, right? The approach may be safer from an editing perspective, says Dr. Uranov, but this leads to another issue. What rears its less than pleasant head is the problem of convincing yourself if it's a T cell. Okay, um, interesting. Right? So a uniform batch developed from a single clone that would be easier to characterize and less likely to harbor genetically as anomalous cells than heterogeneous cell pool, right? So you can eliminate a lot of risks. So last point I will make here is that Dr. Sam from the CEO of the company of CRISPR Therapeutics, has mentioned that it has planned to move to an iPSC derived CAR T cells, but the area is still in the early stage. Okay, CTX110 is still going forward with what they're doing, right? Editing the CAR T cell, doing that double-stranded break, knocking out the CD19 gene, making sure that data comes in, having a long durability, complete response, safety. So far from their data that eventually got them designation from the FDA, attended ORR overall response rate of 58% and a CR complete response rate of 38%, right? But the figures also included patients on lower doses as well those on optimal doses. So just keep that in mind. There are patients with lower dosage and patients with optimal dosage. So you have a mix here that shows this average figures, right? So it's a little bit misleading because what if you get all of the patients on optimal dosage, right? What if you all get them on that second dose, right? Because phase one clinical trial protocol only included single dose and a small number of patients received two doses, right? And the number of patients that received two doses, I believe it looked pretty good, it looked pretty safe, and that was the plan of the company as well to give those two doses. So we are still early with this process, guys. This is a lot of research to be had here. My point of showing this article was showing that CAR T cells are extremely important to tackle, right? The CAR T program from CTX110, for example, is an extremely important program. That's why Caribou Biosciences, all eyes are on them for phase one data, especially with their Chardonnay's rDNA technology, proprietary technology. But again, it is CRISPR. I'm more focused with CRISPR. I'm more focused with these CRISPR companies. Whatever Allogene is doing with talent, that is not my area of expertise. The only thing I know is that they're doing double-stranded breaks on those, so there may be a relationship here and there. But again, it's too early to establish. You need to study these types of technology on an individual basis, and you need to be upfront with this technology, right? You need to be ahead of the curve, right? You need to understand, okay, so CRISPR is going forward with CTX110, but the company has mentioned about iPSC derived CAR T cells being less risk and being safer just in general, and then basically avoiding these types of chromosal abnormalities like we saw in chromosome position 14 from allogene there. So some food for thought here. Curious to see what you guys think. Um, a little bit of a technical type of video, but I think it's always important to review these types of articles to see what's going on in another technology, but make parallels with CRISPR therapeutics, see what's their progress. But if there's one takeaway from this video is that CTX110 is going forward, right? That designation was given by the FDA. So whether you're bullish on those figures here you're looking at, the FDA did get designation in US. And I remember Biotech TK1 when we covered that video when the data came in, said the data wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't bad. It was just okay, but enough to get approval, right? FDA approval, obviously, we're talking about. To me, I'm just focused on FDA approval. And the fact they gave designation to me, they liked something about this. And again, I'm sure the fact that it include lower dosage patients as well as optimal dosage sort of course, influenced the decision to give designation in US. Curious to see how this program develops in US. Curious to see what you guys think about this video. Let me know what you guys think about the CAR T cells programs with CRISPR companies like CRISPR Therapeutics, Caribou Biosciences, even Beam Therapeutics is working on their base editing CAR T program that we actually covered in the last video with their wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Let me know in the comments below. Like this video if you found value, smash the destroy it like button and subscribe if you have not. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.